right? So that is an example. I'm not sure I am able to expatiate enough on the principle of vibration, but hopefully you're able to draw something from there to the effect that we really can get what we want if we can get ourselves to think, because vibration now, when it comes to human, now it's about thinking, to think along the line of what we really want, what we desire. All right, we can vibrate at the frequency of, so if you want money, vibrate at the frequency of money, you will attract money. If you want happiness, vibrate at the frequency of happiness. What's that vibration? Think, thought, and dwell on the thought. You attract. All right. So how do you think money to attract money? Let's leave that for another day.
Okay.
But whatever it is that you want, that is one way you can get it, by vibrating, or more specifically, thinking that thing. All right.
All right. So how do we awaken our minds, our inner minds, to the consciousness of the reality of these principles?
Awakening, basically. What's awakening? I mean, how do we awaken ourselves? Yeah, other people may have answers to what to do to awaken yourself. But for me, if awakening was my option, I would not be awakened. If I had the option of between being awakened and being just enjoying life, which one do I think? Which one should I choose? I would choose to just enjoy life and never suffer. Because awakening, the way that I know it, is you are awakened. Yes, these teachings may help one way or the other, but ultimately, you have to be tapped to say it is time to move on. We have dwelled here long enough. It is time to move on to the next assignment. It's time for me to prepare you for the task ahead. Something has to shake you, has to move you. Unfortunately, we said it before. So that coming into awakening, and from my experience and most other experiences that people have shared in different fora, would usually be by something not too pleasant happening to you, as saying, okay, you have enjoyed enough. Well, that part is over. It's time to move on. It's time to continue the journey. All right. So awakening is really not something that you hold champagne on one hand and then you hold turkey on the other hand and then you say you want to awaken. No, awakening is more sober, much more sober and deeper than that. All right. So to answer your question, when it's time for the universe to awaken you, the only way that the universe is going to do that you would know that at this time, I have no choice but to submit to this force, is when something negative happens. You remember we talked about this before?
Yeah, we did.
So the way to come to awakening is a higher force, a deeper force outside of you, saying it is time to move on to the next phase. This will not happen at the peak of your career. This will not happen when you just, you are in happy mood. You just got married, you are, you just traveled, you just relocated to America. It could do, that could be converted. But usually the point I'm making is it will not happen at the peak of your blaze. awakening happens, or rather, what triggers awakening is, what's the opposite of bliss now? Suffering.
Suffering.
Suffering is what triggers awakening. So when suffering starts, usually in the form of bereavement, maybe somebody lost somebody that is dear to them, and you think, God, what's this? That level of, what is this? I mean, that level where you are shaking. It's called the storm of life. So when the storm of life comes and takes away that which you have built, that which you have suffered, or that house that you erected, and you feel, oh, finally, I have a place that I can call my place. In this case, your house could be whatever that source of happiness is, will be your house. And then you have reasons to question the foundation on which you built that house. That is when awakening comes. Because the impression you had before then was that because I do this, I pay this, I go to early morning this, you perform all the rites of religion. Therefore, you are protected and nothing evil will happen to you. But now that it has happened, your belief is questioned. And that is when you, of course, not immediately. First, when it happens, you feel, it's just one of those things. I'm going to bounce back. And then you are left. You go to Sokoto, you go to Zamfara, you go to every places you can, trying to solve your problem. And then even the tiny one you have in the bank, you exhaust it all the pieces of land you have here and there, you are left with nothing. There's nothing to struggle with anymore. Maybe practically not exactly, but inside you just feel, this is it. I'm empty, nothing else to. That is when the awakening now crosses and begins to show that, yes, now that I've successfully gained your attention, you have exhausted everything you can do by your power, and there is nothing more out there for you to go and look at. Can you hear me now? And then, oh, yeah, I hear you. Okay, now that I have your attention, don't worry about all of that. Then you are now taking through these teachings, which is the awakening. It's not a sudden thing. So what will ever get you into the mood where you will think, is it not me? I will do it. And then you have exhausted everything you can do by yourself. And then you realize that, no, it's not by my power. What will ever get you to that level where you now deliberately go and seek for forces higher than you? And then maybe coincidentally, usually you don't even know where these forces are or where this force is. Just mistakenly, coincidentally or something, you just thinking, and by thought, you just stumble some book or some teachings, just inspire you to just inspire your thinking. And then when I say trigger, it just leads your thinking to a new realm of thought, where that thought is just the right frequency, and you just tune to that, and you are seeing the picture, like somebody who just mistakenly tuned to a TV channel. And, what's that? So this channel exists, I didn't know. Just mistakenly. By this teaching, sometimes by reading of your favorite motivational or inspirational book, sometimes by verse in the Bible, something just triggers you to think at that thought, and then you just connect, and then you just stay connected momentarily, and then you are just at this new level where you are now. You know that when you think at that thought, then you are connected to the origin of that thought. Then, so that's meditation. Anyway, let's even leave meditation out of it, but that's similar to meditation. So what can ever get you to that mood where you have exhausted everything, you are down, there's no work to go to, because that would all the distraction we talked about in earlier episode. No work to go to. Your work is gone. No, every distraction the distraction is removed. So all you just do is sit at home sober and threatening to kill yourself because there is nothing left for you. So the only thing that can get you there is maybe bereavement, maybe sickness. You are bedridden. And then you are just on your bed by yourself alone, thinking, What is all this? Is this how this life wants to end? Maybe loss of property. Maybe there's this beautiful house or land that you felt, with this one, I'm made for life. All right? Maybe your business capital. You look at your capital for doing business where you are paying your tithe and paying everything, and you are seeing like $250,000. Well, it's not bad. At this rate, if I continue like this, I'm going to hit 1 million in the next 3 years. And then in 2 months, 3 months, your $250,000 is gone. But so these are the kind of things that can happen to bring you to this state, this frequency of thought from where you can now connect to your inner. Deliberately, most of these are not deliberate. It is just in this era, this time of wondering, what's the problem? What is wrong? What did I? That is when, again, by teachings, by reading, by something will just shift you into that. And then once you connect, again, it may not be like you connect and things just begin to happen. You just feel that, oh, that thought, when I thought about that thing, I had some kind of relief within me. I didn't so much think about my problem anymore. It was more of, okay, let me dwell on that thought again. And then you dwell on the thought. And then you dwell on the thought. And then you dwell on the thought. At some point, you just feel that dwelling on that thought has a way, a soothing effect on you. Of course, you want to dwell there. And then at some point, after a while, after persistent dwelling around there, if you listen enough, your mind will just begin to talk to you after. Just begin to communicate with you. First of all, with the question, why is all of this happening? Did the Bible not say that this? So have I not paid my bills? Have I not do this? Why did this happen? Sometimes, if you search enough, because the knowledge was deliberately hidden from you, so that you may pay the price. You can't get knowledge like that. Knowledge is not free. And you just go and pick diamond on the floor just like that or gold. You have to pay the price. So when you have paid the price enough in your thoughts, I want solution or something, then you'll not be awarded with the price of, now that you have not had enough, to be open to you, and then you'll be allowed in, and then that teaching that will make you a new person. It could take a year, could take another 2 years, but it's never in a hurry. It's not like, go and recoup everything that you lost now before the world ends. It's not dragging with anybody. However long it takes you to learn to awaken, to use your word, that's how long it's going to take. But you are no longer sad. I mean, that's the sign that you are now in the awakening process. You are no longer sad. Your heavy burden of life, why did you treat me? That one is no longer in you. You just find joy in the presence of this, of your inner, of being in communication with your inner. It's a different feeling, and it's a feeling you want to always be in the presence of. All right. So that's the only thing, unfortunately. Everyone I know that is awakened had to go through those hard times to come into their awakening.